Hey, it's Rav. Welcome to the Everyday Investor, the hottest real estate investment show in the world. That's right, I said it. I don't care who knows it. We've got a fantastic show lined up. We're going to be talking about how we can make money investing in land development. I've got my good friend Sasha on the show. Whenever anyone introduces any kind of investment opportunity, you always want to ask the 4 questions to start. Number 1, what is the return on investment? Number 2, when do I get that return on investment? 3, what is the minimum investment amount needed? And number 4, what is the risk? The worst case scenario, get your pen, your paper, all that kind of good stuff. The Everyday Investor continues in a moment.
The Everyday Investor has been brought to you by ProFunds Mortgages, Fixed Returns, Real Security. The Real Estate Center Canada, for all your buying, selling, and investing needs. Exteriors, providing you with full-service exterior renovations.
For over 10 years, Strong-Based Interlock and Landscaping has providing professional services to homeowners across the Greater Toronto Area. We are dedicated to ensuring your landscaping resembles the beauty you have envisioned. Our team guarantees competitive prices and the highest level of customer satisfaction through our integrity and commitment to quality landscaping services. For a free estimate on your next project, call us at 416-800-1585 or visit our website at sbinterlock.com. Whatever your interlocking and landscaping needs, you can count on Strong Base.
At Here to Clean, we understand that inviting someone into your home is a big deal. All of our cleaners are carefully vetted to ensure we send the right person to care for your home. We offer a variety of cleaning services to meet our various clients' needs, from small office and vacation rental cleaning, post-renovation and move-in cleaning. We will arrange a team of professionals with the right skill sets to tackle your toughest jobs and get them done right. Email, call, or text us to discuss your unique needs.
Hey there, this is Anthony Maniaci. Here at Maniaci Sobel Altbaum, we're a law firm working for you in all facets of the law. My specialty is working in corporate commercial law and real estate, but we have lawyers that work in all other areas, including litigation and family. Our practice focuses on service with a personal touch, delivering in-depth legal advice and guidance to our clients, treating you as people, not as a number. You can reach us at maniacilaw.com.
Hey, it's Jeff and Mark from Exteriors. Exteriors provides you with full-service exterior renovations, including roofing, siding, aluminum, and eaves troughs. We treat every renovation as if it were our own, guaranteeing impeccable craftsmanship. Exteriors Renovations. Contact us for a free quote.
At High Peaks Custom Homes, we understand that your family is unique, and your home should be too. We are dedicated to understanding your vision and bringing it to life with great attention to detail and expert craftsmanship. Contact us at High Peaks Custom Homes to speak with our design team and start your new home.
Canadian Real Estate Wealth, Canada's leading authority on residential real estate investment, can help you grow your portfolio, build equity, and find the perfect market for your next investment property. Available both online and in print. Canadian Real Estate Wealth is written by investors for investors. Each issue brings proven, practical advice on all aspects of your investor's journey: property management, financing, alternative investing, and so much more. In 2018, when you think ROI, think CREW. Visit CanadianRealEstateMagazine.ca to subscribe today.
The Real Estate Center is one of North America's leading real estate firms, helping everyday people buy, sell, and invest in real estate. By leading with education, we make sure our clients have the know-how and confidence to make informed decisions, allowing them to reach their goals. Through our vast network of experienced advisors, the Real Estate Center is able to provide a full-service experience across the entire country. Whether you're looking for your first home, an income property, or commercial investment, we're here to help. Visit our website at therealestatecenter.com.
Hey, it's Rav. Welcome back to the Everyday Investor. Today we're going to talk about how we can make money investing in land development. I'd rather have no one on the show than my good friend Sasha Cucuz. He is CEO of Grey Brook Securities. Sasha, thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure.
And people are probably wondering, because they know who this former NHL superstar is, they're probably wondering, how did he get from the NHL to land development?
The NHL would be overstating it. I played in the minor leagues, so but I did kind of play professional hockey prior to.
Well, you did a little short stint with the Flyers, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I played in their farm system. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, how did I transition? I guess is the question. I mean, I saw the writing on the wall at one point. You know, playing a few years in the minors and not really moving up the way I would have liked to. It was time to start thinking about an alternative, and I had my degree, and I started to kind of think about what I wanted to do. And when I transitioned, I started off in sort of financial services. I worked at a Canadian bank with TD Securities, and then sort of moved on from there and met my current partners, Peter and Elias, a couple of years thereafter.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it was a good move.
I hope so, yeah.
I mean, it's cool, dude. I mean, and I say we're because I thank you for bringing me along as well as, part of business development, and that's exciting. But we're playing with the big boys, people. Okay, is there anyone else that does what Graybrook does? And, I was talking about it just recently, and I was saying, not really, and here's why. Because the partners, Peter, Sasha, they have such great relationships with the biggest players in the game. You've been doing it for 10, 15 years now, but we haven't been doing it for 40, 50 years. So, because a lot of these developers, they're in their 50s, 60s, even 70s. How were you able to bridge a relationship being in your late 30s, early 40s with some of the biggest players in North America?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I mean, I think obviously a lot of hard work. I was fortunate to have great partners and great people around us. And I think we had a kind of an innovative idea. At the end of the day, we were looking at different investments within private equity, real estate being an area of interest for us, and never really thought about investing in development. Real estate was typically thought of as, buy and hold, buy a plaza, extract some income from it over time. We had a mutual contact that had a relationship with a developer, made an introduction, and that's how it started. So it started off with a single developer, and then from there, Peter and I had never really gone out and pitched developers. It had been organic growth, really doing a good job for our partner, and then before you know it, word gets around within the development community, and other people want to meet you and see what you're all about.
Yeah.
And then a second, a third, and it sort of grew that way from organic growth.
It just went around. There's a couple of guys out there, nice, sweet boys that have their P's and Q's in order and integrity, and so that's working with them. But really, though, and so it's this different developers came on board, to be able to do that, and and then there's history because. I'm not sure if he'd want us to, so don't answer if you think he wouldn't. But talk a little bit about Elias and what he did, and and just how brilliant guy, top 40 under 40 in Forbes, and now he's obviously in his 50s and stuff. But talk a little bit about TLC and how that worked.
So Elias is our other partner with Peter and I, and initially when Peter and I came on, it was really to manage some of Elias's money. He was the CEO and chairman.
He had a few bucks.
Few bucks.
Yes.
He was the chairman and CEO of TLC Vision, which he founded in the 90s. It was a $3 billion business, so obviously through that process, he managed to create some wealth. $3 billion business.
Then he had all this money, he needed to deploy it,
Yeah.
and so then he brought some young Sasha and Peters.
Yeah, he was the chairman and CEO still of TLC Vision, so obviously some of his personal wealth that he created, he wanted to invest.
Yeah.
So he brought Peter and I on to help manage that for him. So the first number of investments that we made as Graybrook were really proprietary investments. They were our company's money. So today, Peter and I are partners in the business, obviously owners with Elias.
Graybrook Capital.
Yeah.
Graybrook Capital.
But in our early days in our history, before we started to bring in third-party investors, we really wanted to make sure that we were A, comfortable with the industry, B, comfortable with the way that we're investing our capital.
Yeah.
And it was all our capital as a partnership to start with.
Yeah. Yeah, when people talk to me, sometimes, we talk a little bit about the risks, and we'll go over a couple things today even, but I always say that, the guys, Graybrook Capital, Elias, Peter, Sasha, they put their safe money in Graybrook Realty Partners. That's where they put their safe money.
Yeah.
The money that they want to, projected returns of 20, 25, 30%, whatever it is. And then, not that there's gamble money, but the interesting money where maybe we can do something is on the health side. And I'm very excited about one of the things we're doing on the health side. It's really personal to me. As 3-4 years ago, and I've shared to the viewers, and I think it's important for people to share, that I went through a nervous breakdown. I went through anxiety with little, bullets of depression in there and so on and so forth. and we're doing something very exciting called Greenbrook.
Greenbrook, yeah.
TMS,
Yeah.
and maybe you can define that and what
Sure.
it does, but I'm very excited to be an investor in that. Just, obviously there's a business side, but just, it's always nice when you can feed your family and help people
change
at the
lives,
same
yeah.
time, change
Yeah.
lives. So talk about that.
I think that's probably the most exciting thing for us. So on the healthcare side of our Graybrook business, as you sort of identified, it's a different risk reward, right? So frankly, we invest pretty early in healthcare companies, and that's not something that I feel comfortable putting my parents in.
Yeah.
On the real estate side, I do, and that's why we have a very large business that has
Friends and
third-party
family
investors.
yeah.
On the healthcare side, it's a little bit different. We, from time to time, will let people invest, like yourself, when the company gets to a point of stability and we've de-risked it, but we get involved pretty early.
Yeah.
And one such investment was Greenbrook TMS. So Greenbrook TMS stands for transcranial magnetic stimulation.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a way to treat depression in a non-pharmacological way. So it's not using drugs or pharmacotherapy. It's using a magnetic therapy. So it's a safe, effective way to treat depression. We started off in the United States. We built our first clinic in the Washington, D.C. metro area back in 2011. Today, the business has just under 40 locations. It's a thriving business. And as you sort of point out, I mean, of course, it's a profitable business endeavor, but for me personally, being one of the people who started the business, it's the most rewarding thing in the world when you can change people's lives and help people along the way.
Yeah.
So that's something about the healthcare side of our business that's always struck a chord.
It's having great feedback testimonials with people that have used it, right?
Yep.
It's not everybody's going to do well on quote unquote medication. There's sometimes it doesn't work. There's side effects, and and it's a smaller percentage than people think. And so this is non-invasive. You go in, and I heard that now we've passed over 100,000 patients. Or is that?
Yeah, we've had 100,000 treatments overall since our inception.
Yeah.
It's one of these things where it's not meant to replace medication. It's not meant to, but as you point out, not everybody is successful using different therapies, so you have to have alternatives. And this is one of the alternatives that over the years has proven to be very effective. It's FDA approved.
Yeah.
And as a result,
that's important. It's FDA approved.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Insurance companies
Absolutely.
are partnering with
Yep,
it.
it's insurance covered in the United
Yeah.
States. And candidly, the results we've seen have been spectacular. We have some of the best physicians that are part of our team. Our chief medical director, Dr. Jeffrey Grammer, is kind of the world's foremost expert in transcranial magnetic stimulation.
Yeah.
So we're fortunate to have a great medical team.
Very exciting.
And the business continues to do well.
Well, thank you for allowing me to be involved in that. And that's very exciting. Don't worry, we're going to talk land development. We're going to talk numbers. We're talking to my good friend, Sasha Cucuz. Don't go anywhere. The Everyday Investor continues in a moment. Thanks for watching.
The Everyday Investor has been brought to you by ProFunds Mortgages, Fixed Returns, Real Security. The Real Estate Center Canada, for all your buying, selling, and investing needs. Exteriors, providing you with full-service exterior renovations.
Canadian Real Estate Wealth, Canada's leading authority on residential real estate investment, can help you grow your portfolio, build equity, and find the perfect market for your next investment property. Available both online and in print. Canadian Real Estate Wealth is written by investors for investors. Each issue brings proven, practical advice on all aspects of your investor's journey: property management, financing, alternative investing, and so much more. In 2018, when you think ROI, think CREW. Visit CanadianRealEstateMagazine.ca to subscribe today.
ProFunds Mortgages and its affiliate Valor Capital offers expert service and funding solutions for builders and developers, offering first and second mortgages with a combination of institutional and private lending. ProFunds Mortgages and Valor Capital offer a full-service construction and development package with in-house engineers, developers, builders, planners, and the best of financial analysts. With the many years of experience and credibility, ProFunds and Valor would love to be your added value financial partner. Visit us at profunds.ca.
Hey, it's Jeff and Mark from Exteriors. Exteriors provides you with full-service exterior renovations, including roofing, siding, aluminum, and eaves troughs. We treat every renovation as if it were our own, guaranteeing impeccable craftsmanship. Exteriors Renovations. Contact us for a free quote.
At High Peaks Custom Homes, we understand that your family is unique, and your home should be too. We are dedicated to understanding your vision and bringing it to life with great attention to detail and expert craftsmanship. Contact us at High Peaks Custom Homes to speak with our design team and start your new home.
For over 10 years, Strong-Based Interlock and Landscaping has providing professional services to homeowners across the Greater Toronto Area. We are dedicated to ensuring your landscaping resembles the beauty you have envisioned. Our team guarantees competitive prices and the highest level of customer satisfaction through our integrity and commitment to quality landscaping services. For a free estimate on your next project, call us at 416-800-1585 or visit our website at sbinterlock.com. Whatever your interlocking and landscaping needs, you can count on Strong Base.
Like people, businesses have their journey, their path, sometimes straight, but more often evolving, growing, and adapting. And like people, businesses' needs change, creating the need for knowledge in areas like accounting, consulting, and tax. Areas critical to your continued growth and success, all part of the journey, and all part of what we do together with you. So that when your business has arrived, it's ready to keep going. MNP. Wherever business takes you.
Hey, it's Vitali, Rav's door and window guy. Here are 4 quick tips when choosing doors and windows for your home. 1. Get 2 to 3 estimates from a reputable vendor. 2. Choose the right manufacturer. 3. Make sure you have a warranty. And 4. Get professional installation. To book a free estimate, contact us at torontodoorsandwindows.ca.
Hey, it's Rav. Welcome back to the Everyday Investor. Today we're going to be talking about how we can make money investing in land development. I got my good friend Sasha on the show. He's one of the 3 partners at Grey Brook Capital. He's CEO of Grey Brook Securities. And Sasha really, CEO Grey Brook Securities, dealing on the Grey Brook Realty partner side of things.
Sure, yeah.
And of course, this is not a real estate brokerage. This is a way that the everyday people like Rav Tour can get involved and making the same kind of margins that the large-scale developers would. Explain how this all kind of works. So Rav and Friends investor, Graybrook, that kind of helms this for Rav and Friends, and then the developers. Kind of marry all that together for us. Yeah.
So like you said, we're not a brokerage, we're a private equity firm. So really our role is to invest in great real estate opportunities, and our chosen sort of area is development. We think there's a great way to make money in development. Sort of the interaction of everybody and what everybody does. If you think about the day-to-day work of a development, it's done by a developer. So we partner with top-tier developers, some of the best in Toronto and the United States even. And our role is really to help, A, identify the right opportunities, B, underwrite them as we call it, so do all the diligence that's required and make sure that they're a fit for what we look for our investors.
Make sure they're going to make money.
Also, on top of making money, they have to be downside protected. We have to buy right.
Yeah.
That's a really key and critical factor for us.
Yeah.
And then also manage them on an ongoing basis. So our role is not to just, set up financing, put a deal together and have investors join the developer and then we move on to the next. We have a team that stays lockstep with the developer throughout the entire process, protecting ourselves, protecting our investors, and making sure that the plan executes the way that we've laid it out.
Yeah.
So that's our role.
Okay.
And the investor's role really is part of the capital base, right? So when we invest, we as principals all invest our money as well in the opportunities. And we have investors just like yourself that are joining us on the same terms and conditions that we have, on the same terms and conditions that the developers have. And we're basically putting our money together in order to participate in the upside. So the investor at the end of the day is an owner in our investments. They own the property that we buy together with our developer partner, and then they share in the upside as well.
And where our monies go to, I mean, let's say a project is, I know they're $400, $500, $600 million projects, give or take, but let's call it $100 million.
Mm-hmm.
The money only goes towards the 12, 15 million. I mean, that's for the land and some marketing, correct?
Yeah, generally
It's the bank
speaking.
that gives most of it for the construction?
Generally speaking, and depending on what you're doing, but in the course of traditional development for building homes, for example, or condominiums, If you think about your costs being 100%, you're going to have your land, you're going to have some sales, marketing, planning, what we call soft costs. You're also going to have your hard costs, your construction costs. In the markets that we operate in, sort of the Ontario and South Florida, developers are responsible for pre-selling their inventory in advance of a building, right? So people come in, they buy off plan.
Which is shrewd and wise and prudent.
It's definitely good to protect yourself and from a risk protection perspective, generally for consumers, developers alike. So the way that the development is capitalized, so we Graybrook and our investors are part of the equity. So if you think about 100% of your costs being hard, soft, and land, most of our money goes to the land acquisition. And then we're responsible for some of the soft costs, which we call pre-construction soft costs. So really it's any planning, sales, and marketing related costs. But at the end of the day, we're landowners first. From there, once a developer has secured enough sales to be able to then have a profitable project, they can go to the bank for a construction loan. And of that cost, about 70% of your total cost is a construction loan. So you have the equity, and then you have a construction loan piece. And the additional layer is when a purchaser goes out and purchases a unit, they put forth a deposit. And if the developer insures and bonds that deposit, then they are permitted to use it as part of their sources and uses of capital. Which is kind of the additional layer. So you have your equity, you have some purchaser deposits, and then you have the construction loan. And all-in equity would comprise about 15 to 20% in the context of a high-rise, for example.
And then the most beautiful word in real estate is leverage, right? And so that's the beautiful thing about this, and that was kind of what I was getting at, is if our monies is going into the 15, 20%, and then the rest is coming from a small portion purchasers' deposits, and then the majority, 2/3, basically, give or take, is really a loan from the bank at preferred rates, because it's not my cousin Vinny building. It's the biggest players in North America that are building, and so they have that leverage with the bank.
So, from a bank's perspective, the project has to have a couple of key ingredients. A, it has to be profitable. B, you have to have a certain number of sales that is effectively enough to cover the cost of a project, so it's break-even point, more or less. And then from there, they have to have a strong covenant from its partner. Not only the covenant financially, because the developer is responsible for putting up guarantees with the bank, but also, it's the track record and history of the developer as well. So obviously, the developers that are top-tier developers that have strong balance sheets, they get loans at much better rates than some of the secondary and tertiary developers out there. So from our perspective, we're getting favorable leverage. We're taking that leverage at a point in time after you've secured revenue and profitability of the project. So it's the sequencing of the leverage that's important. And then our partners give us the ability to have preferred rates as well. So overall, the characteristics of our leverage for our equity are quite good.
What's the targeted returns? When do you get them? Obviously, this is it's not a fund. It's not a cash flowing product per se, like a buy and hold property. And then who can invest? So maybe kind of touch on those three: the returns, when do you get them, and who's able to invest? Who's the everyday investor?
So that's a great question. So we're not a fund, so every individual project is its own project. So our investors, and we'll get to who they are and who can invest, but you really get to choose whichever projects you want to participate in. It's not a pool that we, sort of raise a fund and then we deploy it. It's one by one. From the perspective of what our targets are, so we kind of think about the world in two ways: risk and reward. So it's not enough just to look at the reward side; you have to look at the risk side. And we always talk about something called risk-adjusted returns. So what we're looking for is about a 15 to 20% net annualized return on a risk-adjusted basis. That's how we sort of look at it. And what that means for us is, when you say, when do you receive these returns? If you think about development just generally, it's a process of production. So, you're buying a piece of property, there's a hole in the ground for many years, and then at the end, when people move in, that's when you're realizing your revenue and ultimately generating your profit at the project level. So it's not a cash flowing instrument. Anytime that there is cash flow in a development, it's usually some sort of financial engineering that leads to the ability to generate cash. In our context, that's not something we do. So for investors, we look at this as a total return. So for example, if we're targeting 20% on an annualized basis, really what we're saying is that an investor is going to put up their money on day one, and then let's say 4.5 or 5 years later, depending on what you're building, some are shorter, some are longer, but depending on what you're building, you've generated 100% total profit.
Yeah.
Over 5 years, you made 20% per year.
I put in $100,000 to create this widget. It just happens to be housing. And 5 years later, the consumer actualizes on the widget, moves into their condo, the housing. Yep. I get my $100,000 back, plus the $100,000 profit. Right. You know, again, give or take, because I've been in deals that you know, have been much more than 20% annualized, and it could be less. It all depends on the timing of things, and there's different factors on that.
Yeah, there's different factors. Like there's different opportunities and different risks, and markets change. And our role and our job, frankly, on behalf of our investors, is to read these things and to make the right decisions at the right time. Yeah, that's our whole reason for existing. Yeah. So you know, historically, returns have been, in many cases, much better. In many cases, slightly worse. Yeah. But we've never lost any money, and we're really proud of that. Yeah. And we want to make sure that when we underwrite, what we're most concerned with is the protection of our capital. So we're not striving to generate those returns. What we're trying to do is put ourselves in a protective position, a defensive posture. So what we buy right. We don't take entitlement risks. So we're buying things that are already in the official plan from a zoning perspective. Yeah. So we're trying to limit as much risk as possible.
Not like farmland that, you know, we might have to wait 10 years before we can zone and so on and so forth. Where you already know, you know, that this is what we're going to do. And, you know, there's a reason why there's 5,000 investors in 30 plus countries. And, you know, I think it's always the running joke that it's only Canadians that think that Canadian product is expensive.
It's expensive, yeah.
We're on sale to the rest of the world.
Yeah,
right?
It's interesting. I was just in the Middle East, as we spoke about before. I was there. We have some investors abroad, and sort of did a visit. And it's amazing to see what internationals think of Canada and Toronto, right? So here, you know, maybe because it's our frame of reference and where we're coming from. And I think that's true just generally psychologically, because we saw it a way, and you know, 10 or 15 years later, we're seeing it a different way, and it's hard to fathom the change. But when you come from a different place and you look at all of the things that make Canada great and that make Toronto great, and you look at the prices in some of these more sort of older, more developed places in the world, the Londons, the Parises, the Sydneys, and places, Hong Kong, you know, Toronto represents really good relative value. So we joke around, like you said, but we say, you know, there's 6.5 million people who think Toronto's expensive, and they all live in the GTA.
Yes. We've got about, I can't believe it, time flies when you're having fun. We've got about a minute left. Touch on who can invest.
The majority of people can invest in our product. It's just a question of how much and at what time. But our team is obviously trained and licensed to be able to help people understand the rules and fit.
And you've got entrepreneurs to professional athletes to entertainers to the school teacher to the, you know, a wide range. Listen, Sasha, it's great having you on the show. I always learn, even though I work alongside you, I always learn every time you speak. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, the viewers at home, for watching. Without you, we wouldn't have a show. For more information, make sure that you go to theeverydayinvestor.info to find out more about this topic and the other investment strategies. On behalf of The Everyday Investor, myself, we'll see you next week, same time, same place, all that kind of good stuff. Honey, I love you. I'll be home soon. Thanks for watching, everyone.